scroll down a little bit, please. Okay. Um, Ms. Bates, do you recognize this document?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And it's the hire information form. That's what it says up at the top. And if we need
Okay.
to look at that. Okay. And was that your signature that we just saw at the bottom?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And it says hire date of November 27th. Is that correct?
You know what? I don't think that date is correct. I think that might be that basically after I was already working there, they had me to refill out um, some information like this and put in there, like certain dates or whatever.
Okay.
But I guess you got the first paycheck stub, don't you?
Sorry, what was that?
I said you got my employee record, so you know the exact. I mean, you have the hire date and stuff like that. You would be able to.
Okay. Do you know who made the decision to hire you?
Yeah, it was Tara and Ashley.
And it was both of them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they both viewed me and they both decided to hire me for the position.
Um, were you involved in Artisan's human resources process at all? Were you hired to do human resources work?
No, I wasn't. But I mean, I know who interviewed me for the job and who told me that I had the job. It was both of them in there together. Whether one of them made a decision on their own to hire me or not, that was part of the procedure, I guess. That's how they do it. But they were both in the room with me. They both told me I had the job.
Okay, so while they were
So,
both while they're both in the interview room with you, you don't know if one of them or the other had the authority to actually hire you.
well, I know that they both. I mean, to me, it seemed like they both had the authority to hire me. That's what it was looking like. But I mean,
But so it appeared to you that they both could hire, but you don't know if one of them, through Artisan's human resources, had the ability to say, yes, we're going to hire Annie Bates versus the other one just being present.
well, my that it was Tara who had the same power because I know that she was holding a higher position than Ashley was. I know Ashley was pretty much the scheduler, so I do know that much. But when they gave me the job, they gave it to me like it was a joint thing for the both of them. So
Okay. And you were hired to work on second shift?
I believe so.
Okay. And, or I guess you did work on second shift when you worked for Artisan, is that right?
Yes.
And that was 3 to 11 p.m., right?
I don't know what the shift was. It could have been 2 to 11. I don't know. I mean, it's just
Okay.
been a few years ago.
And was that the only shift that you worked on? Did you work on other shifts?
Yeah, I worked on all shifts because they were always short-handed. So I did a lot of third shifts and I did tons of first shifts along with the second shifts that I was working.
Okay. And you were hired as a lead resident assistant, or team lead. Does that sound correct?
That sounds correct.
Right. Were there other lead resident assistants?
I guess there was two more of them at the time, I believe.
And who were those other team leads that you remember?
I do not even remember their names. I mean, I was
Do
there.
you know their races?
Yeah, no, I don't even know their races to be honest with you. I know one of them was Caucasian, but the other one, I don't know if she was Native or something else.
So your testimony is going to be that the other two, you don't know their races, but neither of them were Black or African American.
Correct.
Okay. Did those other leads have the same job duties as you?
Oh, they
Yes.
had job duties than me.
Okay, so they didn't do the same things that you did on a day-to-day basis.
Correct.
What did they have to do that you did not have to do?
Well, they didn't deal with or hello.
I think we lost you for a second. Last thing I heard was they didn't deal with.
They didn't have to do the daily cares with the residents. They didn't have to go into um the residents' rooms and toilet the residents. They didn't have to feed residents and stuff like that. And those were the things that they had me doing. They didn't have to clean the facility. Those were things that they delegated to other people to do. So our jobs looked at very different.
Okay, and did those other two leads, did they normally work on the same shift as you?
One of them worked on first shift, and the other one was a second shift. So it was just one that worked on my shift.
Okay. How do you know that they were lead resident assistants?
Because there were on the their names were on the schedules as team leads, and then any type of emergency contact, they would have the team lead names and numbers and stuff, and so they were listed as the leads
Okay.
all around the nurses station and stuff like that, so people were aware of who they were.
Okay, and we had said you didn't work in Artisan's human resources, right?
Oh,
And you didn't have access to their employee files.
no.
So could it be that, maybe they had a different job description than you did?
No, they didn't have a different job description. We had the same title. So no, they didn't have a different job description. They were, basically doing the team lead position they were hired for, and we had the same job descriptions.
So without having, being in human resources or having access to their files, how do you know that they had the same position title as you?
Because when I started to complain about it, they finally did put me down as a team lead, right alongside with them.
So eventually Artisan did put you down as a team lead.
Yeah, they did. Weeks of complaining to them about it. Yeah.
Okay. But just going back, there's other people you believe they were team leads, but they had whatever on the schedule, but you didn't have access to their personnel files to see, what they were hired as or what was listed as their job position.
What was listed job position?
So if you were hired as, do we still have, we still have this exhibit up. You're hired as job title as team lead CNA. You don't know if the hire information form that's in their file also says team lead CNA. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I don't know what's in their employees' files, but I do know that those girls that were team leads, I know one of them was not even CNA, so her title wouldn't say CNA because she never even had a CNA license.
Okay, so if she didn't have a CNA license, she wouldn't necessarily be able to do the same things that a CNA could. Is that right?
That's correct.
Um, did you know every other employee that worked at the Artisan De Pere facility?
Did I know every other employee? No, they had hundreds of different people coming up in there. They were
Okay.
going to the agency. I met them through the agency. They had a high turnover. So no, I don't know all their employees.
So you don't, you know, the other two team leads that you mentioned whose names we don't know, is it possible that there are other team leads that you just hadn't met?
No, they were the only team leads there. That was one thing about that nursing facility. It was a smaller nursing facility. And basically, you had some solid people that was there that had been there for some years, and everybody knew them. And those were the two team leads.
Okay, but again, you didn't have access to the human resources files, so there's a possibility out there. It's not out of the realm of belief that there could be other team leads that you just hadn't worked with.
No, there was the other team leads that was there. I know that for a fact.
Okay. So as part of your position, did you make any decisions regarding employees? Did you have the authority to hire and fire anyone?
No, because that wasn't part of my position. My position was not to hire and fire anyone. It was to pass medications and to report emergencies and stuff like that to my supervisor, and to complete paperwork and stuff like that, and to monitor, any abnormal symptoms within the clients. So that was what I was supposed to be doing. But I end up doing only CNA work. So again, I was treated differently. I was treated unfairly, and I'm seeking justice.
Okay, so in summary, there was someone else with Artisan who hired and fired employees.
Yeah, it was Tara.
Okay, so you believe it was Tara who had the authority?
Yeah, Tara had the
Do you
authority,
do you
and
know
Ashley influenced, the decision as well.
do you know what went into Artisan's decision-making process for hiring or firing employees? Do you know what qualities or what pieces of information they were looking at when they decided to hire someone or let them go?
No, I don't know exactly what they were looking at because I'm not human resources, but I do know that there's a procedure for hiring and firing someone, and there's laws that are attached with them procedures. And I know that in my particular situation, laws were broken, and somebody's got to pay.
Okay. And to confirm, I'm not sure if I did this before. Ashley and Tara, so Ashley Martell, Tara St. Jean, those were your two supervisors in De Pere?
Yeah, he
Did you
was
have,
the scheduling supervisor, and Tara was the supervisor.
okay. After you were hired, did you have any kind of orientation that you had to go through before actually starting working?
Yeah, they wanted me to do a couple of days of orientation, but my orientation seemed to last like over a month long because it was such a messy situation there.
Okay. So as one of those days, did you have a day, where you go over documents, you fill out the insurance paperwork, emergency contact, things like that?
I'm sure we did. I mean, I was on the payroll. They had to pay me somehow, and I had to get that information in order for them to give me a paycheck.
Yeah, and that's important. Were you given a copy of the job description for your position?
Yeah, I was given.
Okay. Judge, can we pull up Exhibit R7, please?
This is R7. Again, I can't fit the whole page on the screen, so it's a couple pages as well.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 pages. If you would take a couple minutes to read through that and let us know when you're done.
Yeah, and I know what the job description was. You know, I read the job description and stuff like that. Even so, a lot of that stuff, you know.
Okay, so you've seen this document before, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, and this is the job description for the lead resident assistant position?
Yeah, I believe so. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you were given this during your orientation?
Yes.
And Judge, can we go to page 3 of this document, please?
Just 1 second.
No problem.
That's page 3.
All right, down at the bottom there, Ms. Bates, is that your signature and the date that is unfortunately got a line through it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And above that, just above your signature, it says, I have read and understand my job description and I am able to fulfill the outlined responsibilities.
Correct.
So you understood that this job description was saying, this is what you have to do as being the lead resident assistant, right?
Right. But again, we spoke about the position verbally as well during the interview, and you know, with them knowing about the pregnancy and stuff like that, and they knew the position that I was asking for and stuff like that. We also had, you know, this verbal agreement worked out where, you know, this was going to be the job that I was going to do. And then I didn't get to do the job that they hired me to do. And even though that's in the paperwork and everything, you know, we're in court because of the paperwork, because of something that you claim I didn't put in the paperwork. So just because things is documented in black and white doesn't mean that that's strictly what the company was going by and following by.
Okay. So just to establish a timeline here, you signed this document, this job description after you were interviewed, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did they give you any other piece of paper with any job description on it? Did they give you a piece of paper saying this is our oral, you know, this is per our conversation during our interview, these are your job duties?
No, they did.
Okay. Does this job description anywhere say that you will only have to supervise other employees? And if you need to read through it, I'm sure the judge will.
No, it doesn't. No, it does. No, it doesn't say that I will only be, you know, supervising employees. It says a whole lot of things that even the company wasn't even going by. So.
Okay. And did anyone, you know, go over this with you during your orientation? Did Tara or Ashley go over this with you?
No, they much just gave it to me. They didn't really, you know, go into details about what was in that actual description at all whatsoever.
Okay, so did you have the opportunity to ask questions? Did you read through it?
Yeah, I read through it and stuff once I got home and everything. But yeah, they didn't go over that word for word with me and say that, yeah, you absolutely have to stick to this and this is exactly what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. They pretty much just gave it to me and told me that, you know, I can go home and read the rest of it or whatever. But, you know, I signed the paperwork anyways.
Okay, and you went home and read through it, you just said?
Yeah, I looked through the job description. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know if it says anywhere in here that medication passing is a job duty?
No.
Is that it is not listed, or you don't know?
I don't know if that is listed in there or not.
Okay. Do you want to read through it and see if it is?
No, I don't need to.
Okay, well, you,
Because again, we had a verbal thing going on. Again, on my application, it does say med tech. So even if that's not in the description, I got hired to be a medication tech. So
but the document we said before, I guess we'll go back to that. So you agree that medication passing is not listed in this job description, is that correct?
that's correct. It's supposed to be listed with the team lead duties.
Okay. And does it say anywhere that you will not have to do any personal cares or care for patients?
No, it doesn't say that either. But again, that's something that we verbally had established.
Okay. And there's no, just to confirm, there's no other document where you said that you will be supervising and passing medications. You only sign this job description that's up on the screen.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So I think we talked about this before, or you did in response to the judge's questions. When you worked for Artisan, your job duties were mostly caring for residents. Is that correct?
When I worked for them, my job duties, yes, was only caring for residents.
Okay. So you're expected to do things, like change residents' depends, feed them, bathe them, do laundry, clean, that type of work, right?
Right.
And that's what you would refer to as personal cares.
The personal cares is more like just like the toileting and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. And you did have to do those personal cares, or the duties you're referring to.
I did do those,
Okay. Yes. Were there other employees that had to do personal cares?
Yeah, that I would work with on a day-to-day, the other CNAs that would come in. Yeah, we did those, but the team lead never had to do them.
And you had said before that one of the team leads was not a CNA, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you ever see any white employees doing personal cares?
Yeah, they were the coworkers that I was working with.
Did you see employees who were not pregnant doing personal cares?
Not doing personal cares, yes.
Okay. Do you know, were there any other pregnant employees working at Artisan while you were
Oh,
there?
only
There were
pregnant.
not?
I was the only pregnant one at the time that I was
Okay.
working for Artisan.
So you don't know of any other pregnant employees? No one?
There wasn't other pregnant employees.
Okay. Were there certain aspects, of the job Artisan asked you to do that you would rather not have done?
Yeah, the part where they were having me to deal with Hoyer lifts and sit to stand. There
Okay.
was other parts where we had a couple of clients that would fall constantly, and we had to get them up in a Hoyer lift and get them onto the bed and stuff like that. So those were the things that I didn't want to have to deal with because it was causing too much strain on my body, with me being so far along in the pregnancy.
Okay. So for your supervisors, Tara and Ashley, did they only supervise employees? Were they purely supervisors?
Tara Ashley was supposed to be, she was the scheduler and she was kind of like the nurse. So she was supposed to be doing like the medication training and stuff there. And, Tara did mostly supervising, and she was doing staff meetings, to help the staff get to know one another. I don't know what else, Tara
So
had to do, but
so they would help out on occasion. They would pass medications. They would lend a hand if needed. Is that correct?
I guess.
Um, and the other team leads, going back to them, would they also lend a hand, pass medication, do cares if they needed to, if other people needed help?
The team leads that was there, the two that I know, was not doing any type of physical cares with the residents.
So they never did any physical cares ever that you saw?
No, not they was never doing any physical cares. Never.
Do you know if they had any kind of medical restrictions?
Well, I know the one was just getting over cancer. So I don't know if she had any medical restrictions as possible. The other one, she seemed to be pretty healthy. I doubt if she had any medical restrictions. I'm a breast cancer survivor myself. I could have had restrictions, but I didn't use restrictions. I still did the job. I still did, the work that I wasn't even hired to do, but
Okay. So you said you don't know if they had restrictions. You doubt they do. Like you said, you don't have access to their personnel files. You don't know if they had restrictions. Is that correct? You don't believe they do, but you don't know for sure.
I know the one girl did not have any.
And how do you know that?
Hello?
Hello? And so how do you know that the one team lead did not have medical restrictions?
Well, the one that came back from, just having cancer, I'm sure she probably did have some form of restrictions, but I also needed accommodations. I was pregnant, and by law, I'm allowed accommodations because of my pregnancy. And so, and the one accommodations was basically not to be dealing with the Hoyer lifts and stuff like that. And I wasn't allowed that. They
Okay.
still working with
But
that stuff. So,
just focusing on these other two employees, you said you think one did, the other
for
you don't
sure,
have access.
not.
The other, you don't have access to her personnel file. You don't know if she had medical restrictions, correct?
I'm pretty sure she did not have any medical restrictions.
But you're not 100% sure.
I'm 100% sure she did not have any medical restrictions.
And did you ever see her personnel file?
No, I didn't see her personal file, but she was healthy as a horse.
Okay.
And they talk about what they were going through there and stuff like that. So, yes, I think she would have mentioned something like that if she had restrictions that required her not to be able to work with the residents.
Okay. So moving on to the schedule, you said that they didn't list you as a team lead on it, correct?
Correct.
But eventually they did put you as a team lead, correct?
That was right before they fired me. I mean, at that point, it was a waste of time to even do it if they were already planning to fire me anyway. So they put me on the last week and fired me the same week. I mean,
And when was the first time that you asked to be put on the schedule?
I do not. Been a long time ago. This has been years ago. I don't know the dates of when I asked or whatever. All I know is that I was being treated unfairly. I mentioned it to them, and within the first week or two, and things just escalated from there.
Okay, so you don't remember when you asked?
No.
Okay. So when you were not listed as a team lead, well, let me just back up 1 second. Do you happen to have a copy of those schedules? Did you ever take a picture of them on your phone?
Yes, I did. But I don't have it right in this phone right now that I'm on.
Okay. And I think you said you're paid $13 an hour as a team lead?
It was something like that, yeah.
Okay. Were you paid less when you're not listed as a team lead on the schedule? Were you paid the same? Were you paid the same when you were not listed as a team lead on the schedule?
What was
Okay. So when you were not listed as a team lead on the schedule, were you paid the same amount?
correct?
Okay. So they didn't pay you less because you weren't listed as a team lead?
No.
Okay. Did anything else change? Did you not get health insurance? Did you have any other benefits that went away because you were not listed as a team lead on the schedule?
You said, did anything change?
Did you have, if you had health insurance, whatever, did that go away because you weren't listed as a team lead on the schedule? Was there any other benefit, employment benefit that changed because you weren't listed as a team lead?
Any employee changed because I wasn't listed as
Did
a
any
team lead?
Did any benefit?
Yeah, the benefit was basically I was losing out on getting the extra money that I wanted to get. I was getting ready to have a baby. I was okay with doing, the overtime hours and stuff like that. And so,
Would you have gotten paid more if you were listed as a team lead on the schedule?
Yeah, they were getting paid more. They was getting more like gift cards and stuff like that. They was getting paid a little bit extra, as the team leads. And so I think, yeah, I was missing on some perks because they had me listed as the team lead.
Do you have evidence that they're getting these gift cards? Like, have you seen text messages, emails, notes, letters, faxes saying that, oh, you're a team lead, you're on the schedule, so we're going to pay you more?
Well, they was paying team leads more when they had to come in and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't have any paper trail that the other team leads got paid a little more.
Did the other team leads work there longer than you did?
I said I don't have any paper trail that the other team leads got paid a little bit more than me, but it's just, to me, it's just common sense. If they're going to treat them better than me, chances are they're probably paying them more than me too.
So you don't know if they were paid more?
I'm pretty sure they was.
But you said probably you don't know, you didn't see their pay stubs, you didn't see their tax
They were
returns.
better than me on a daily basis the whole time that I was there. I'm pretty sure they got paid better than me.
Okay, but
That's just
you never saw their paychecks.
don't need the black and white to figure that out. I mean, I got fired. They still was there with their job. They're probably still there today and they're still getting paid. And I'm still sitting here broke and trying to get some justice out of this whole thing.
Okay, and so
yes, they were paid better than me because they had the titles and they were getting respected for their titles, and I didn't get any respect. I got discriminated against, and I know that they were getting paid better than I was.
but you don't have any evidence to show that they were getting paid better than you were.
I mean, you guys have the evidence. You're the company. I mean, I'm sure you could go through the records and pull that up yourself. I'm sure they were getting paid better than me.
But you personally don't have that evidence.
Nope, I personally don't have it. I just got the intuition.
Okay, you just have the intuition. So moving on to the medication passing. This is obviously a job you wanted to do. Why did you want to pass medications as opposed to doing everything else?
Because I was getting ready to have my baby very soon, and I didn't want to have an accident with the residents. I've been down that rodeo before, and so I was just trying to be safer and a little bit more cautious with me being pregnant. And so that was that.
Okay. So it was a little bit easier. It was a little bit safer. That's why you wanted to do it.
Yes, I did the special accommodation because I was pregnant.
Okay. Um, did you ever ask anyone at Artisan about passing medications?
No, we talked about it verbally during the interview on the 11th, and that was the understanding that that's what I was going to be doing, and that I wasn't going to be in the rooms with the residents, bathing them and stuff like that. We had that verbally discussed between us. So,
Okay. Did you bring it up after the interview?
I brought it up during the first week when I realized they wasn't training me on the medication and all of that. I brought it up the very first week I was there.
And I think you told the judge, that they said you would need to be trained on it, correct?
I told the judge that they said that they wanted me to get familiar with all the residents, which they know I didn't need to get familiar with the residents because I had already established a relationship with the residents prior to even getting hired through their company.
Okay. Did they tell you that you would need to be trained specifically to pass medications?
Yeah, they said it would be 3 days training, and on the third day, I would be on my own, passing meds.
Did they tell you that you'd have to do this on a shift that you weren't scheduled?
Yes, they did. They told me I was going to have to do it on first shift instead of the second shift that they hired me for. And, they would have me pick up hours on first shift and have me there working, but they was not training me. That happened a couple times.
Okay. Did they tell you if you'd be paid to train to pass medications?
Yeah, I was. Okay.
Um, so I guess after your testimony with the judge, I'm a little unclear. Did you actually undergo the training to pass medications for Artisan?
Yes, I did. I went through the training. I want to say I don't remember the date, but I did do the training and it was 3 days.
Do you remember who you trained with?
Yeah, it was one of the girls from second shift and it was one of the girls from first shift. But it was during first shift that they had me to train
Okay.
different people.
So you eventually were trained to pass medication.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know if there was anyone who passed medication that did not have to do that training?
Yeah, there were several people who were coming in from the agency, and they were coming in and they were passing medications.
Do you know if they had undergone the training?
I'm pretty sure they were coming in from agency that they had not went undergo the training. If that was the case, I should have been doing it right away. But
So you don't know if they had or had not. You think that they didn't, but you're not sure.
I don't believe they did at all whatsoever. While I was there, the people that were coming in through an agency that was passing medications was not undergoing any 3-day training to pass the medications.
Okay. Do you know if everyone else, so speaking only to Artisan employees, I guess let me pause and go back. So while you were working with Arcadia at Artisan, you didn't do the training while you were working for Arcadia. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So do you know if, speaking to Artisan employees only, do you know if everyone else who was an Artisan employee that had passed medications did do the training?
No, I can't attest to that. I'm not even sure.
Okay. So you're not really sure if they did or did not. You just know that they passed medications.
I just know the agencies that was coming in, that was passing medications, did not go through the training, and
Okay.
they were in passing medications.
All right. Do you know any other Black African American employees who passed medications?
Yes, my niece of them.
Okay. And again, you don't know any pregnant employees that worked there while you were there.
There was no other pregnant employees working there when I was there.
Okay. So moving on to the background check. So you had said during your conversation with the judge earlier that what the Artisan had done, was illegal, or I guess. So what's the basis that you believe that your employment history was in the background check?
What's the reason that my employee history was not in the background check?
No, what is your reasoning for believing that your employment history was included in your background check?
Because that's what I was told, that they were going to check for, all my employers and, and everything. And so they mentioned three things that they were going to be checking for in the background check during that that interview, and the employers were, one of them. So,
So what were the three things that they said they were going to check?
It was gonna be the work history, and then they were saying something with credit for some reason, and I believe the other one was my educational history.
And they said that was part of the background check?
They said that was a part of the background check, is that they go through all that, and it was like, we're sure that your stuff is going to come back clean, so we're not worrying about it. You already have the job. They were telling me I was hired before the background check even came back, but we did talk about it. And I believe they even, provided me with the background check with the work references and stuff like that was on there. But I've moved a couple of times. I misplaced that information, but that was definitely part of that whole thing.
Okay. Have you ever requested what's called a caregiver background check for anyone?
No.
Have you ever seen anyone else's caregiver background check?
No.
Okay. Do you know how to request a caregiver background check?
I know I don't do anything with any caregiver background checks because I got a clean, squeaky record. So I don't need to do that.
Okay. And so you've never employed anyone, you've never been a supervisor where you, to hire someone, you've had to request that background check. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you ever see the caregiver background check that Artisan requested for you prior to your employment?
I believe, I want to say they let me see like a copy of it or something like that.
Okay. Judge, can we pull up Exhibit R5? Okay, so this
And I
is,
may need to scroll down because I
Yeah.
believe it's about 10 pages or so.
yeah, this is a longer document. If you'd like to take a few minutes to read through it and see what's in there, I'll represent to you that this is a complete copy of the caregiver background check that Artisan requested prior to hiring you. Do you want to read through it quick?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So have you ever seen this document before?
I'm seeing it now, but no, I don't think I synced this when they hired me.
Okay. So you haven't seen the document before today?
No, not this.
Okay. And so looking at the top of the page that we're looking at right here, it says Bates Annie M. and date of birth, October 24th, 1980. Is that correct? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
All right. So I guess if we page through this here, because I think it's going to be important for us to do so. On this first page here, does it list any of your prior employers?
No, it does.
Okay, can we go to the next page, please, Judge? Okay, second page here, does it list any of your prior employers?
No.
Next page, please. Does this page list any of your prior employers?
No.
And we might have to scroll down a little bit more, but does this page list any of your prior employers?
No.
This page, which is going to be the fifth page of the document, does this list any of your prior employers?
No.
And the sixth page, does this list any of your prior employers?
Okay, so the background check doesn't list the prior employers, but that doesn't mean that there's the background check that they do that doesn't list that, because one of them does have all my work history in there, and I know that, and my educational background. I know that for a fact. So this one is specifically the caregiver one that you're showing, but the regular background check gives you that information.
Okay, well, for the sake of the record here, I think we need to go through. So I think we're on, for the previous page, for the sixth page, did you see your employer listed?
No, I don't. This is showing a record. This is showing.
Okay. Next page. Is your employer listed on this page?
Definitely not.
Okay. All right, this is the eighth page of the document, kind of in the middle of the page there. Annie M. Bates, 10/24/1980. This is you, correct?
That's me, correct. Yep.
And no employers listed on this page?
No.
All right, next page. Only a few more. Any employers listed on this page?
No.
Any on this page?
Nope.
And the final page, are there any employers on this page?
Nope.
Okay. And I think there's one more page, and this is just the background request, and you can see that it was requested by Misty Mayrand at mosaicmanagement.com, and the fee was paid. So, sorry. To summarize, there were no employers listed in this document. Is that correct?
That's in that. Yes.
And you had said, that a background check was done. Do you know specifically what kind of background check that Artisan did prior to your employment?
Do I know what kind of background check they did?
Yeah.
Well, obviously they did this caregiver background check, it looks like. That's
Okay.
what you're showing.
Do you know if they did any other background checks?
I mean, I'm guessing that they did.
So you would be guessing, you don't know.
Well, I mean, a background check. I mean, this is a caregiver's background check. I don't know if that's the only one they did. I don't know if I would believe that they did the regular one as well. But I mean,
Okay. Did you ever tell Ashley or Tara or anyone else who was a supervisor at Artisan that you were pregnant?
yes,
Who did you tell?
I told Tara and Ashley during the interview.
And I believe that you told the judge, I have to find it here, but I believe you said that you did not tell Ashley, that you may have told Tara.
I told them we discussed it during the interview, my pregnancy and how far along I was.
Okay. And you only told them how far along you were?
Yeah, I told them that I was about 7 months pregnant.
Okay. Did you record your interview? Did you take it on your cell phone? Did you have a recorder? Did you have a listening device in the room? Do you have any recordings of that conversation?
I mean, no, but I guess I'm gonna have to start recording this stuff because I'm always writing up in court. But yeah, no, I didn't record anything.
Okay. And you don't have any emails, text messages, anything with you saying, Tara and Ashley, I'm pregnant?
I got text messages about my the work restriction and stuff like that that I sent to them when I was starting to have a hard time with using those lifts and stuff like that. So I have that I sent over to
So were you ever issued restrictions by a doctor because of your
yeah,
pregnancy?
restrictions by a doctor that I showed to Ashley.
And what doctor issued those restrictions?
It's been so long ago, I forget his name.
What were those restrictions?
The restrictions was that I wasn't to lift more than 20 pounds, and I was not able to work long hours anymore. I think they put me on like a 4 or 5 hour a day restriction because I was working 16 hours all the time there.
Do you have a copy of those restrictions with you today?
No, I don't have them with me right now. Okay, but I have them stored in the old cell phone that I had at the time of so, and the judge, I don't think she said she could use the cell phone for evidence, whatever.
Did you, I mean, if you're able to pull up those restrictions and show that you sent them to Ashley or Tara, did you present any restrictions to Artisan? Did you actually take a piece of paper that says, I can't lift more than 20 pounds or do whatever, and did you give them to Ashley or Tara?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe I gave them to Ashley.
And when did you do this?
I don't know. I think it was like right before Christmas.
Okay. So your complaint says that you didn't want to do personal care during pregnancy. So you didn't, just to confirm, you didn't want to do personal cares?
No, I could do personal cares. I couldn't do like the heavy lifting and a lot of bending while I was pregnant. Feeding a client is a type of personal care. I was definitely able and capable of doing it, in which I did do it. There was a lot of personal cares. I could comb hair and do certain things like that. But when it came down to using a Hoyer lift and doing a lot of bending while I was over 7 months pregnant, that wasn't doable for me.
Okay, so you were still physically able to do some physical cares, and you did those while you were pregnant.
I overdid physical cares while I was pregnant and working for that company, and that's where the complaints started to come in because I wasn't able to do the job they hired me to do. And then they had me doing all these strenuous personal cares while I was pregnant.
Okay. So speaking just generally to evidence, did you bring any evidence, any documentation?
Well, I have witnesses that I brought forward that you guys decided that you're not gonna allow because they're too late. But my witnesses could attest for a lot of the things that I'm talking about, which is including the fact that I established a relationship with Artisan before I even started working there.
But you don't have any documents, you don't have emails printed off, you don't have text messages, you didn't send anything to the judge or I ahead of this hearing, right?
No, I wasn't aware that I was supposed to send you guys anything ahead of this meeting.
So, I know work is work. Were you generally happy, content with your employment with Artisan?
I believe I mentioned that there was a lot of drama going on there. I believe I mentioned somebody got in my face and yelled at me like my first week there, and I had to complain to Tara. So happy with my job, I would say not, but did I need my job? Yes, I needed my job.
So were you actively looking for employment at the time you were terminated?
No, I was not for
So,
employment because I was planning to have a baby. So I was trying to work as many hours as I could so that I can provide for my unborn child.
okay. And so if you weren't terminated on January 3rd of 2019, you would have continued working for Artisan?
Yes, that was continue working so that I could save up some money for my unborn child and help provide and take care of my unborn child. But
Okay.
that was hard coming when you're faced with discrimination all the time in a workplace.
Okay. Did you ever make any complaints to Ashley or Tara about your employment there at Artisan?
Yes, I mentioned to you that again, there was a lady that was in my face kind of in a harassing way while I was there. Um, the people was calling in all the time and I was getting stuck doing extra shifts. There was the girl that was clearly on drugs, sleeping in the client's rooms and stuff like that, that I had to report to Tara and Ashley. So there was a lot of things that was going on that was getting reported on a regular basis. Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff wasn't getting written down, but some of that stuff was coming through by text messages, and I do have some of those texts.
Okay. So moving on to your termination, your employment ended with Artisan on January 3rd, 2019, correct?
It ended before that. That's just when I got the letter.
Okay. And you said you received a letter. Nobody called and talked to you?
Correct. Well, actually, you know what? That's not correct. I think either Tara or Ashley did call stating that I did not need to come in for my shift because I was being terminated. And when I asked why, they said they had got some information from a previous employer, and they mailed me out the letter.
Okay. So they told you that you were being terminated because they'd received information from a prior employer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Were you involved at all in Artisan's decision to terminate your employment?
No, I was
So Artisan didn't ask you if you would like to stop working there, if they'd like for your employment to be ended.
no, they gave me no warning or anything. I had no um inkling of them even wanting to get rid of me, except for the fact that I was complaining about some of the stuff that was going on, but otherwise I had no warnings. I was not, under the scope for attendance or anything like that, so it was all a big shock when all of a sudden I was just without a job and I was about to have this baby.
Okay. Um, do you know who made the decision to terminate your employment?
I'm guessing Tara made the decision to terminate it, but I don't know if she did or if corporate did. I'm not sure.
Okay. And you don't have any documents where Artisan talked about terminating your employment. You don't have emails or text messages or anything like that of whoever made the decision, why they made their decision.
No. That is a letter stating um, that it was because of some information that they got from this other company. And when I asked my niece about it, because she was still working there when they terminated me, she said that there was a rumor going around that I committed elderly abuse.
Okay, so the only information you have is the rumor from your coworker.
Yes.
Okay. And so you don't have any documentation. You didn't hear any phone calls. You weren't standing outside of anyone's door when they were discussing it.
No.
You didn't hear it with your own ears.
No.
Okay. Do you have any evidence whatsoever about why Artisan decided to terminate your employment?
Yeah, the evidence just that in the termination letter they said it was due to information they got from a previous employer.
Okay. Um, so, now
So
Artisan
that's
says,
why I said that they fired me.
okay. So Artisan says that it terminated your employment because you didn't truthfully complete your employment application. Um, can you imagine a world where an employer would want to terminate an employee because they didn't truthfully complete their employment application?
No.
So you can't imagine any world where someone lies on their employment application. So if I went and applied for a new job and said I was CEO of Apple, um, someone wouldn't say, I'm not going to hire him because he's obviously lying.
Okay, I can't relate to that. I know you would like for me to be able to relate to being a liar, but even so, that's very offensive right now to me. I didn't lie to your company about anything. Your company is doing all the lying. And again, I just want some justice. And, there's a lot of discrimination going on and biasness around this whole entire investigation. I've been dealing with this for a long time. And again, I'm not going to stop until I get some real justice out of this situation. This is not going anywhere. You're going to be spending more lawyer money on court fees because they're not getting away with this. And I got witnesses. You didn't want to hear from the witnesses today, and so on and so forth. And by the time we come back to court, I'm going to have more witnesses because I'm still talking to people. So this is just going to get a little bit bigger, and you guys are going to be sought out for the lying that you're doing. And
So
it
you
is
worked
my
at, you worked at,
process, and it is due process for me to have my witnesses. Your guys are saying, well, you didn't let us know or get them in on time, but that's part of due process is for you guys to hear from my witnesses as well and get my side of the story. So you're already not getting my full side of the story because you're not even allowing my witnesses, but you want to continue to say that I'm a liar and that I should have got fired because I lied when it's the other way around. You guys are lying on me.
Okay, and I've only got a few more questions, and we can take a break and eat lunch and everything else before potentially the rest of our witnesses. So if you'll bear with me for a couple minutes, we can get these done. So is it correct that you worked for Arcadia immediately before working for Artisan?
Yes.
And you did not include Arcadia as a previous employer on your job application?
No, because I talked about it verbally with Ashley and Tara.
Okay. Do you know anyone else who submitted an application to Artisan and did not list all of their most recent employers?
Yes, my did, and she worked for the same company, which is Arcadia, and they did not fire her.
Do you know if Artisan knew that she worked for Arcadia?
Yes, they did her through Arcadia. Same
Have you
situation,
seen
but different story.
have you seen your niece's employment application?
No, I didn't see.
Okay.
No.
So you don't know that she did not list Arcadia as a previous employer?
I know for a fact she did not list Arcadia on her application with Artisan.
But you have not seen her employment application?
Well, we talked about it. She's my witness. We talked about it. We discussed it. We worked for the same temp agency before we got hired on through Artisan.
Do you know of anyone else who, I'm sorry, let me just strike that. I guess my final question was that in your rebuttal to the position statement, you said that you were the only pregnant woman at Artisan who the company was unethical with. Is that correct?
That is correct. I was
So
the only pregnant one there at that location in the pier that was getting treated wrongfully.
Okay, so you believe that you were treated unethically while other pregnant women were not?
Correct. And there wasn't any other pregnant women there. I was the only one.
Okay. No more questions right now, Your Honor.
States, do you have anything else you want to testify about?
Do I have anything to testify about? No, I'm just ready to get this.
All right. And I know you've already said that, you wanted to have your witnesses. I said you can't have your witnesses. Is there any other evidence you want to present before I turn it over to the respondents' witnesses?
Hold on just a second.
Sure. Right, Ms.
Hello,
Bates,
I'm
any other
sorry.
evidence?
Okay, so I do have a few things that I like to submit as evidence. One is the medication training days. It shows the days that I was trained for the medication. The other one is my statement from my niece when she first wrote the statement, saying that she will be a witness. The other one is uh basically my letter when I did the appeal stating that I had a witness and stuff like that who I wanted to testify, since you guys kind of left them out of there today. So I'll send you all of that. I got the pictures in this phone right here, so can I just upload it to you guys, or how's that gonna work?
Well, typically I would need to have it now. So can you get it to us now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you want me to send it by email? Because I can send it through the email that you sent me today, and you can just, I can give it to you that way so you can show it to him, because you guys are saying you never heard of my witnesses and all of that, but that's definitely in my complaints, and I also gave you that information before this appeal even got filed.
Sure, if you want to email that to me and Attorney Woodson, you can go ahead and do that. And
And
then
I
it
would,
might,
I would still object that anything be brought in, Judge.
well, you can send it to us though. And then why don't we take a break now? You can send that information to us. And then if it's about 12:30, if we come back at 1 o'clock, that'll give you some opportunity to send it to me and him, and I can look it over and decide what we're going to do with it then.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll come back at 1 o'clock and I'll make a decision on that. And then we can go forward with the response case, unless you have some additional evidence or testimony you want to give Ms. Bates.
I mean, I would like to get my witnesses in here, you know.
Right.
I mean,
I made that decision though. I'm not going to let the witnesses testify today.
but can I have my witnesses to testify at a later date outside of this? So no.
No. The hearing was scheduled for today.
Okay. All right. Yep.
All right, so we'll take a 30-minute break. We'll come back at 1 o'clock. Send us those things by email, Ms. Bates. And then, like I said, I'll take a look at it and deal with it when we come back.
All righty.
And Judge, just ahead of going on break, I just want to let you know that I will be intending to do a verbal motion to dismiss based on the record when we return.
All right, we'll take care of that as well then when we come back.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.